Hello everybody. I'm going to do it a little bit differently this time. Normally I do the card the close to my heart way, and then I change it up to do it the Barbara way. And this time I'm going to do all 4 of the close to my heart cards, and then we will do the next video will be all the shaker cards. So let's start with card number 1. This is going to be a happy birthday card. We need to do a little bit of prep. So we're going to take this white piece here, and in the middle, we're going to take the king purple, and of course, you know, any similar colors on whatever your colored pencils are, or whatever your markers are, or whatever you decide to use to color these in will be fine. And they want to do a little background, so they're just kind of going like this. Now, these are watercolor pencils now, and in the directions, they don't actually use them as watercolor pencils. They use them as regular pencils, but I thought I've got my shimmer brush here, and I might just pump that up just a little bit, get a little liquid coming out. And because these are watercolored pencils, they will actually smooth out with moisture. You could use a water brush too, doing this, and that just makes it a even cooler background. Okay, and then we're going to grab the looks like grape ink, and I didn't get one of the teeny tiny blocks, so I'm just going to use, I think, this little spot here that I've got for this tiny little stamp, which is these 3 little dots here. So I have enough room on the end of this just to do that. And we're going to do just a little bit here and there. It looks like they've done some down here, and some here, and some down there. Okay, just like that. And so that piece is prepped. And then the next piece we're going to do, you're going to need your intense black, because we are going to color in these butterflies and ink those up. Let me get my foam piece. Here it is. Now, if you got a Versamat, you can use the back of the Versamat as your foam, and don't have to use the one from the stamp set, but I'm just going to do that for this so that I can keep it that way. Where did I lose my ink to? There we go. Memento is what I'm using. I'm not sure if Close to My Heart still sells this, but Intense Black is also works just fine. Just happen to have this handy. So I'm going to ink that up and get this stamped. It's a pretty easy stamp there. Isn't it nice that we have the ability to cut these pieces out ahead of time? So cool. I was always a person that didn't like thin cuts much, you know, because I was really a Cricut person, and I, you know, I just didn't want to have to go through and have a whole other device, but yeah, they're convenient. Don't have to haul the whole Cricut machine out or fussy cut. So maybe if I leave them on the sponge, it might be easier for you to see. So I'm going to now color these. Now, you can color them any way you want. To me, it kind of looked like we've got 4 colors here. So I think they use the blue on the lower part of these wings here, and then the upper part here. And so I'm just going to do that. So what they did was to kind of outline them a little bit, and then fill in lighter. But because I'm going to be blending them, I don't even need to do the filling in part. But if you were to do the filling in part, you could just go ahead and outline it, and then just slightly color in the rest like that. But I won't need to do that because I'm going to use that shimmer brush or a water brush or a paint brush with a little water on it. Any of those things would work just to blend these in. So all I'm going to do is outline them, because I can pull that color in then towards the center. And just outline them. Very easy to use. it'll probably a little bit more forgiving than the, I think they did the top stripe here. A little more forgiving than markers. Because I suppose you could even erase it a little bit if you needed to. Okay, I'm gonna do the blue now in this next section. And I'm not gonna press too hard because I wanna kind of keep it still fairly light even when I spread it out. I don't want it to be super, super dark. So a little outline. I mean, pretty easy way to do this. And then down here on the bottom wings. Just like that. And where else did they do it? A little bit down here. And then I think we have the pink that's gonna go in the middle of all those little dots. And then what do they do on the body? It looks like they sort of slightly colored the body. Let's look if I can get under the light. Yeah, maybe a slight light blue. I think I'm just gonna just barely put a little color in there. And then the pink goes in all the dots. And I don't see where they've used the green there on this one. So maybe we'll use it a little bit on the next, on the smaller butterfly, even though I don't even see it really there. And just like that. And then I'm gonna use a little green here just for fun on this part, just to add that in. And maybe a little down here. But you could use whatever color. I think they used, looks like they used the pink at the bottom and the purple at the top. But I'm gonna add a little of that in. Pink on the dot. And then they left that white. But I'm gonna add in some, I'll add in a little purple here and here. And then go back and do maybe a little blue on that body, but just lightly. Okay, now you get your shimmer brush out. This is my old one, so I've just had it forever. And then you just go through and smooth, you know, that area wherever you colored, and it just kind of smooths it out, spreads the color inward, gives that nice water brush look. Just like that. Let me hold it up so you can see. It just is a smoother look than just coloring with the pencils. So even though they didn't, they just have you color with a pencil, I wanted to do this. So it's up to you. I'm just going slightly over those edges, bringing that color in. So that it doesn't look like there's any real line anymore of where I drew. You want to just smooth that all out. A little bit on the pink there, and let's do the blue. So I'm just gonna bring that color in and smooth out the lines. And then a little bit on that pink. Same with here. Get the color wet and just smooth it towards the middle. Quite easy to work with. That purple, oops, getting a little bit of excess on my shimmer brush. Just tap that off a little bit. Ooh, it sure wants to leak all of a sudden. All right, back here. And that happened because I squeezed it before, and honestly on shimmer brushes you really hardly ever have to squeeze them. But I wanted to get a little bit of moisture flow in, and so now it got a little bit too much. So I think I'll be okay here. And bring that color in. Oop, dripping a little bit more. I'm gonna hold it slightly so it's not coming out so fast. It's not gonna matter once it dries, but it does make it wet for a longer time when you've got a lot of it on there. Let me smooth out those blue lines. And that's just gonna make a nice little look there. Get a little bit of that on the pink. And we'll let that dry while we're putting everything else together. So let me set that aside. Ooh, getting a little crazy with that shimmer brush there. Okay, next, do a little gluing. So that's all the prep. Now it's just basically gluing this stuff down. Remember, all of our paper has two sides, so if you don't want one side, go ahead and use the other. This stripe would look awesome too. I'm gonna put the purple side down. It's so funny that these cards just, I was actually thinking of doing some shaker cards because I have a lot of shaker card materials. And, you know, as we are trying to work on using our stash, I was thinking I need to do some shaker cards. And then I pulled this up, knowing that it was my turn to do the, the cards instead of layouts this month. And I thought, oh my gosh, every one of these looks like this would be perfect for shaker. And they all were. All right, now I'm going to get this swirly thing. And I'm gluing it with real glue, not a runner. And I'm gonna put quite a bit because, you know, it needs it to hold it down steady. It's something about these delicate pieces. You really need to really cover all the angles. Oh, there's a little notch there. And it tends to dry fast, so I'm gonna get it down while it's all still wet. When I made this card the first time, I accidentally put dark blue sapphire, cut this out in sapphire. It looked just as good. But the actual color is supposed to be this grape. And then just line that so it's touching all the way to the end of the card and the top of the card, and just kind of line it up against that main line between these two pieces. Okay, down here we're gonna do the happy birthday, so I'm gonna stick my foam under and need sapphire and your happy birthday stamp, which I already put on a block here. And I just lined it up. Not too hard, and that's just going to go down here. And I hope I get it straight because it's kind of hard to lean over without getting my head in here. I feel like it's going to be a little curvy. Slightly. Yeah, I put it on slightly curvy on that. Okay, and now the middle part. This should be all dry now, and you need your little piece of sapphire cardstock. And it's got a nice shimmer to it because we use that shimmer brush. But a water brush would work too, paintbrush. And let's put that in. Let's see, did they pop that up? And no, it doesn't look like it, so I'm gonna pop the butterflies up instead. So this is going down, or going up from the bottom, 1.5 inches. And from the side, let's see, make sure I get that lined up right. So by the way, it's St. Patrick's Day on the day that I'm doing this. And if you follow me on Facebook, you'll know I already kind of celebrated St. Patrick's Day when we went down to the Chicago River. It's 3/8 inch away from the right-hand side. Went down to the Chicago River to watch them, and I'm just going to line it up where the line is between the purple and the pattern paper there. To see them dye the Chicago River green, which was pretty awesome. But that was my first time doing it, so now I have learned my lesson about things I would do differently next year. For one thing, one of my friends said, my office is right there, and we could have watched it from my office window. So that might be different next year. I might just go do that, because that would be cool to see it from above, because it's quite crowded. I'll put this in the middle for the butterfly. And, but if I was not going to her office, there were so many places along the way that I could have stopped and had a good view, but we thought, I'm going to add a little more shimmer since it got a little crazy there. I want it to match on both sides. So there was plenty of places we could have waited, but we thought that there was going to be one place where they just dumped the green, and that is not how it works. Instead, they do the green on coming off of boats. So they just send a bunch of these boats down the river that are dumping the green ink. So anywhere that you are on the river, you're going to get a great view. But we didn't know that. And so by the time we figured it out, we could not get up close to the river because the crowd was so big. So I only got a slight, my gosh, I'm having trouble with that shimmer brush. We only got a slight view. Not as good a view as we would have had. And this goes over like this. And then I want to clean my mess up before we go on to the next one for sure. But I've got a little bit of sparkles here to put. So here's two big ones and a little one. And somewhere I thought I brought my piercing tool out. So the big ones go up here, one there, and one right next to the butterfly, and then a little one and that's gonna go kind of here. All right, and let's look at the card. It's very sparkly because my shimmer brush got out of control. Normally doesn't happen, but I'm gonna go clean that mess and we'll work on the next one. So I found out what was wrong with my shimmer brush. Somehow I had accidentally unscrewed it, which is why it was just flying everywhere. So that was the problem. Here we go with card 2. And it's a thinking of you card. And we're gonna start out by doing a little prep. So you're gonna want your your larger rectangle white piece, because you got a long skinny one too, and some Memento ink. And then I didn't put this on yet, but we're going to use this swirly thing here. So let me take my butterfly off the block and we'll do this. And that's just going to be the flight of the butterfly. So get that inked. And just basically kind of the lower left going to the upper right. Like that. And then you're gonna wanna grab your little dots again. This time we're gonna do them in, what does it say? Looks like a glacier. So let me make sure I'm a glacier. I'm gonna just put a little bit along the edges of this flight path. One there, one there, and one there. Now, get out, it looks like your turquoise water pencil. And we're gonna scribble a little bit here. as a background to the thinking of you sentiment. Now when we do this on our shaker card, we're going to squeeze everything in because we don't want the shaker card to go over the sentiment. We want it to still show. So I'm going to be more careful with my shimmer brush this time. I'll do just a little bit here. All right, and then thinking of you is going to go over that in grape. We're going to wait 1 minute or two to let that shimmer brush dry. So let's go ahead with the butterfly. I've got the back side of my Versamat now since the, the front is all covered with shimmer brush. Grab your butterfly. And that will be in black. Intense black is the best, or Memento if you have it. And just line that baby up. And then we'll do a little more coloring like we did before. And remember, just because I'm using the shimmer brush or a water brush, that you don't have to do that if you don't want to. You can just leave it fine with the watercolors the way they are. Looks like they used blue on all the wing at the top. I'm gonna keep it light. I'm not pressing too hard. Just so when I water brush that, it'll still stay kind of light. It's fun to use these pencils for a change instead of always markers. I have a huge marker collection, so I do enjoy using my markers, but here at the apartment, I've had to put them in a place where they're not very convenient to get to, and almost a little unstable where they're at too. So I haven't been really grabbing those as often as I usually do. I'm gonna do this for all of this upper wing. And what else did they do? It looks like the lower wing, that could be, so hard to say. Oh, I guess they did a little turquoise on this part, so you could do that too. I am got that a little off, but it doesn't matter. So I'll do turquoise on the lower. But this part here was supposed to be turquoise too, I guess. That part, and then I guess down here. Didn't really show up very well. And they just say, oh, use these colors, but they don't say where. So you gotta kind of really look and guess. All right, and on the, it looks this time like they did some of the dots, like these ones up here in the purple. Like the upper ones. And then the other ones in pink, maybe. It's hard to tell, but I'm gonna go with that. And then one stripe, it looks like might be purple. The top stripe here. And let me see if they did anything on the body. The body looks like light purple maybe, so I'm just gonna just a slight bit add some color in there. And then let's take the notorious shimmer brush again. See if I can manage to keep it screwed on. I knew there was something wrong there. So it's still gonna be fairly wet. I did bring a paper towel in here somewhere. Just to dab it off since it got a little crazy. And then I'm gonna do this blue and just bring that color into the middle, smoothing out those edges that you drew. I'll do the same with the next part. Just bring that color right in. I like it. I'm a little on the purple. One of the things I'm looking forward to this summer, because, you know, it's Chicago and stuff, and they've got a lot of cool things, is a lot of art festivals down here. Because I'm looking for art. I really want to support local artists. So when you go to these little art festival things, you usually are you know, small town kind of artist. And, you know, it's, to me, it's a little more unique and a little more special than just going to get some art, like get Hobby Lobby, which has great, cool things, and IKEA and stuff. But I do want to support my local art area. And you get such unique things then, you know. It's not something you're going to see in everybody's house. So now that spring is almost here, those festivals will be starting up. I cannot wait. All right, that one turned out much better than the first one. We'll let that dry. And this, let's go back to this. This is going to be in Sapphire ink, which is here. And just right down towards the bottom. Is that great or is it grape? Nope, not sapphire. Grape. Sorry. Grape. Would it have mattered? No. All these colors go with it, but it is supposed to be grape. So it's going to be hard for me to do this without getting my head in, but I'll try. Just like that down at the bottom. And then the last little thing they want us to do to prep is to cut the little swirly thing. And so that is going to be cut to 2 inches. So the easiest way to do that is it's going to be going on this piece. So I'm just going to put it right up to the edge there, hold it tight, and then just trim off the back. And that will make it the right size. Okay. Let's let that dry. Let's let the butterfly dry. We'll put the card together. So starting with 2A goes at the top. That's a 1/2 inch from the top. And 2A is the thinner purple. Oh, let me get this on the right direction. 1/2 inch from the top. And it goes all the way across, so we don't have to worry about where it goes in between. And I'm just going to hold down my ruler tight. That goes there. And then 2B is the pattern paper with the big circles on it. Of course, you could use the back. Now, the back that you see here is probably different than what you got in yours, because this is the bulk, and I had to pull out extra since I'm making this into a card class for my retreat. So next is 2C, and that's at the bottom, because the other one we're going to overlap. So this goes a 1/2 inch up, and this is going to be the purple. Like that. And then you take the white and you tear it, and it says approximately 1/2 inch. Did I miss something? Where's 2E? No, I didn't miss anything. Okay, so about a 1/2 inch. This is more like a quarter here. But to me, what I see on their page also looks like more like a quarter. Okay. And then that's going to go at the top of that purple that you just put down, butting up right against the pattern paper. And then this is the next piece that we will tear. And that's about a 1/2 inch, they said. And you want to tear towards you so you get that nice white edge like that. And then at the top, before we stick that on, let's put this on. So get your little glue pen out. This is a nice little die. This is one you could absolutely keep and use over again. I've noticed that they've been doing that a lot with the card ones, where the larger die in there is like really something you could use a lot. Remember that one for, I think it was for Freshly Baked, and it was kind of looked like a cookie grate. That one I decided I'm keeping. That looked really, that was gonna be something I could use again and again behind cards and stuff. Okay, this is gonna come in about 7/8 inch, so I'm gonna turn the card. And it goes right up to the top. Like that. Then we're going to do our Thinking of You piece and put it on the matching mat. And that should be dark side. Yes, dark side. Like that. And that's going to go down. Let's see where we put that. 5/8 of an inch from the left-hand side, or right-hand side. 3/4 of an inch from the bottom. So let me do the 5/8 inch first. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Each one of these little squares is an 1/8. I don't know if you have our ruler, but it's awesome. Just buy the T-square. It's the same as this one, except you get that added bonus of the T-square. I just was watching a video on that the other day. But this looks like I moved that. I didn't put that at the right angle because theirs is, let me check that. Because it said 7/8. Yeah, I put it at 7/8. That's interesting. Okay, so I'm going to move it over just slightly because I think it should look better if you're overlapping the other one. So I'm going to move over just a little bit so that it's more centered on the card anyway. Maybe their measurements are off. I don't think I messed up on that one. All right, and now a butterfly. Let's pop that guy up. I'm going to use some foam tape. All my foam tape came in finally. And as you can see, I use it a lot. It's so nice to be able to cut exactly how much you need. That goes over here. So it looks like he's, you know, like that was the path that he traveled. And then just some sparkles. And it looks like they use 3 small. Get your piercing tool out. And first one goes right above the word think. This one, which is flying all over, there we go, is going to go over here towards the tail of the path. And then the last one is going to go right down here. Like that. And then that card is done. All right, 2 down. Let's do a little prep on card 3. You're going to take the wider purple piece, and we're using the light side. I'm going to put my sponge under so it doesn't ink on the back of my Versamat there. And you're going to use grape ink. What we're going to do is just kind of design a cool little look using that swirl from the like path of the butterfly. So let me grab that piece out again. Like that. Okay. And remember to season if it's the first time using it. I forgot to tell you guys that. Get your ink. And then just, you know, we're just adding some swirls in here so you can kind of turn it around. You know, so it's not supposed to go in any particular way. Like that. Just something like that. See how I caught the edge of my block there? Because I had a little ink on the block, so always pay attention to that and make sure that you don't have ink on your block. All right, now let's do the happy birthday piece. That is grape. Is it grape the whole way? Yes, it is. Good. So we have our grape out already. And we're going to do the happy birthday. So, nicely, they separated the happy. When you make the shaker cards later, you're going to find we may have to cut our stamp or use the masking technique. But for this, it'll be easy. So use your word happy first. We're going to stamp it 3 times, each time just going a little bit lower and not re-inking. So you get a nice good coating of ink towards the top, put it right towards the top, lift it up, under it, do it again, do not re-ink, lift it up, and do it again. Just like that, and it has a nice little, what do you call that? I can never think of that, that word for different gradations. Sucks getting old, doesn't it? Although some of you are not old, it's me. All right, birthday is next. It'll come to me. All right, and then birthday. And leave a little room down at the bottom because we're going to put some sparkles. And that's full ink strength, like that. Okay, so that part's done. And then we need to go ahead and do our little bee. So you'll need your black. And the bee. It's very cute. Just like that. And just stamp him. Now he's going to be, looks mostly blue, like the darker blue, not the turquoise, and the purple. So his wings are purple. And then his body looks kind of blue. So I think what I did was I went through and just drew on the lines for his body, and then went and spread it around with my shimmer brush. And that just gives it, you know, a more distinct, nice outline, I think. And then purple. And I just went around the edge. And kind of like that. So what are you guys watching on TV out there? I'm watching Sinking. Love that show. And then we're about to, what is that one? Ted Lasso. Ted Lasso, new season. We'll be starting that soon. We're also in the middle of West Wing, which we've seen before. And we're watching the entire series all over again. Looks like they left his head sort of white, but it's got a tiniest bit of blue. So after I go through this blue down here on the body, I'm just going to just lightly throw in a little, there we go, like that. Because there was always some blue on my shimmer brush left over. So that kept it light. And then don't forget to just kind of smooth out those lines while bringing that color in. And over here. But yeah, we have enjoyed Ted Lasso the first 2 seasons, so I'm excited about seeing that. There we go. And we'll set him aside to dry a little bit, and we'll put the card together. And looks like the first piece is the big blue. Now this would look great if you went and did some dry embossing on it. Now I'm not gonna do it today, but you could go ahead and do lines on that, and that would be awesome. And this is going to go, it's not showing a measurement, so it's just going to be centered right in the middle of the card, like that. 3B is the one that we stamped, and hopefully it'll cover up some of my little mistake there. And that's going to be 3/4 of an inch from the right hand side. Yes, I just got some inky fingers. Don't you hate when that happens? On my card. Might have to cover that up with some sparkles or something. I don't know. there is another technique too, is you can just take a white pen to it sometimes. I might be able to do that there. And then the darker purple, which is the grape, which let me say, I don't know what grapes they're looking at. Is this grape? No, this isn't grape. What is this? That wasn't the grape. But even the grape color that they have, I don't think is the color of grapes. Well, this is the wisteria, but that grape color, I just do not think is the color of grapes. Okay, put that right next to it. And then we're going to dovetail this big piece up about a 1/4 inch in the middle. And coming in from each side. And that's gonna go, looks like 3/4 inch from the bottom. And it goes all the way to the right of the blue piece. I see mine looks slightly crooked, but it's gonna be okay. Now, for a person like me who messed up here, that would be nothing wrong with moving this all the way over so that it covers that mess up part, but for you guys, I will leave it. And then we're going to do the blue, also dovetail. Like that. And that one goes 2 inches from the bottom. And I think we're using the dark side. Right above that last, no, right above your ruler, I should say. 2 inches from the bottom. All right, now our purple, need to put the happy, oh, you know what? We're missing something. I see something here. We need those little tiny dots again because they used them on that, and it looks like they used them again in Glacier. So sorry about that. Pull your Glacier out. It's not too late. And they do have a few dots over here. Is that it? Yeah, just that by where the bee is going to be. Okay. Now let's get this on. And that looks like it's 5/8 of an inch from the bottom of the purple piece. Just like that. And look at those ink marks on my fingers. Ah. Oh, well. Is the person who receives this card going to care? They aren't even going to notice. They won't. Okay. Now it looks like they popped this whole thing up. So let's do it. But I will see if I can clean it up with a little white pen in a minute. All right. So I hope you guys, excuse me. I hope you guys are looking, for those of you who are scrapbookers, are looking at the album retreat that's coming up in May. It is a fantastic bargain. You will really get your money's worth out of this. So I know the price seems like a lot, but if you added up the stuff that you buy all the time and how many pages you're making out of that stuff, you will be surprised that this is actually, looks like it's going to be cheaper. Okay, our little bee is going to go over here. Because you're getting 2 E-size stamp sets, which are like $35 a piece. And you're getting a C-size stamp set. And then you'll have extra embellishments when you're done. Plus they're, you know, they throw in a whole bunch of extra things in it too that they've pre-cut for you. And then all the page protectors, man, those things add up. So we're gonna need here the big sparkle. feel like I'm missing something. No. Oh, I do see something. So before we put that bee down, I thought it was funny that they hadn't put more than one of those little dots. Grab your little dot thing again. This little tiny dot. And it goes up against, and we already put the bee down, but it goes up to the left of that bee. All right. And back to the sparkles. Big one in the middle and one on each side. Up there. And one here. So last night we went and saw Cocaine Bear. It's very funny, but let me warn you right now, the language is really filthy. So if that's something that would bother you, don't go. I think that is it. So let me take my white pen and see if I can fix this. But it's really funny and it's very campy, so it doesn't take itself seriously. I'm just gonna kind of dot some white over these spots just to lessen them. It's not gonna take them away completely. But when it dries, it should look a little less messed up. Because I somehow got a whole Y in there. An upside down Y. Now, what else could I do? I could just do that whole piece over, right? It would just take a minute to cut the white. But I'm not going to do that right now. So there we go. That's card 3. So card 4, we need to do a little prep. So you're going to grab your long strip here, those little dots. And this time, instead of the glacier, we're using the grape. And we're just going to take it right across that whole piece, just the best you can. You know, like every 1/4 of an inch or so. Stamp again. Nobody's going to notice if it's not perfect. Just do the best you can. Like little Mickey Mouse ears, practically. Yeah, so that I was saying about that Cocaine Bear. I didn't separate those enough. Very funny moments in it, you know, but it doesn't take itself seriously. It's super silly. It's very gross. Warn you. Very gross. And then there's a lot of swearing, as I said, but it's not just swearing from the adults. They're swearing from these little kids, which I always hate that. I hate when it's the little kids. But it was kind of funny. All right, so that part's done. Then grab your white, and we're doing Wishing You. Let's see, I've got that. Wishing You is going to be in Glacier. That's that one. I hope you can see it. And get rid of those little dots for a moment. Wishing You is in Glacier. And that's going to be just above the center line. And I hope I get it on here straight. It's hard to do when I don't want to get my head in. Wishing You. And then Sunshine and Happiness. And that is going to be in Sapphire. Remember, you've got those lines on your blocks that help line up things. I use it constantly. All right, Sapphire. And again, kind of hard because I can't lean over it. Yeah. And then we're gonna need the little dots once more. Clean it off and get Glacier this time. So I just cleaned it off with my finger, which will probably result in me smearing more of my card. But I'm gonna see if I can prevent that. Okay. Just like that, upper sunshine and lower happiness. And then set that aside. And then we have to stamp our little butterfly, really tiny one this time, so it won't take long to cut. That's gonna be in the memento. I think that's the last of our stamping, yay. Okay, here's the little butterfly. My fingers are filthy. Get a good stamped image of that. Now it looks like mostly blue until you get to the bottom wings. I think it looks like the top wings are, you guys might be able to see this better than me, but to me it's looking like the top wings are blue or purple. Maybe they're purple. And then the bottom wings are maybe the turquoise with little pink highlights, and I can't tell if they used any of the dark blue. So let's just go with the purple at the top, and I'm just gonna go follow the squiggly lines and then outline the whole thing. And then squiggly line. I'm sure there's a technical word for these. And you could just totally color it in and not use the shimmer brush. I'm gonna use turquoise on the body, just slightly, and then around the bottom wings. Color it however you want. What's your card? Unless you're a stickler, because there are some of us that like to try to do it just exactly the same way. It's close to my heart. All right, shimmer brush. And we'll just smear that all over. Softening out those lines. Now, if you wanted to make sure the colors don't mix at all, you could just take a piece of scrap paper, and in between each color, just wipe it on that scrap paper till it's clean. I'm not too worried about it on this, so I have just been using it without cleaning in between. And get those blue edges. And then a little of that pink. Okay. Let that dry. Let's put this card together. Okay, 4A is the purple. Again, this would be one that would be cool, dry embossed. Not only dry embossed with lines, like I've showed you a million times, but it would also be, and I think, are we using dark side, light side? And another thing you could do is run it through your embossing machine with any of your little embossing folders, right? Might as well pull them out and use them. And this would be a perfect chance, because that's kind of a little bit plainer behind this, but imagine a nice embossed look. So that's what you bought all those for, is to use them, right? I have so many. This goes next, and it's going to line up right against the purple. And then right against that is the blue. And then finally, the pattern paper at the end. Like that. Okay, so it ends up looking like that. And then it says 4E, which is this purple piece. And that is going 1 1/4 inches from the bottom, 5/8 inch from the edge. 1 1/4, and then 5/8 inch. I like the other side too. Okay, 1 1/4. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like that. And it looks very crooked. And I could see that my purple is not crooked, so it definitely was this piece did not get on there right. Let's try that again. Because this looks nice and straight here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, better. Okay. And then across that, it's going to be your little sunshine piece. So let's put this together. One with a sentiment. Now, if you ever have those ragged edges, because our white is very fibrous, I just like kind of fold them down underneath. It doesn't necessarily mean you need a new blade. It's just a very fibrous paper. All of our other papers aren't, but that white has all these fibers in it, so that's what I do. I just fold it down. And that goes 1 3/4 inch up. So let me get that. Oop. I think that's the line. And then kind of centered. And then right above it, we're going to cut this so that it's at 4 1/4. I'm gonna pull my trimmer out, but you could do it with your scissors and your ruler. I'm just gonna put this in at 4 1/4. Right there. And hold it very steady. Oop, it's not gonna want to do it very much. You know, scissors are gonna be better. I think it goes, yeah, they do have it going all the way to the edge. So I think if I just put it on here, I can cut there. So I got the top part cut, but not the bottom part. So second way to do it, get your glue on. And we'll line it up and then we'll just cut it flush with it. Because I didn't want to wreck it. Trimmer was not working. Aren't you glad that I make these mistakes so you don't have to? All right. It's not going to need to glue the whole way. That's just going right across the top of the Sunshine and Happiness piece from side to side. Line it up right on top of it. And that's right where my little cut is. Set it down. May need to let it dry, but I'm gonna do it while it's wet here. Okay. Because it's delicate, you know, it takes longer to dry, it needs more adhesive too. Down here is a little piece of zip strip. Doesn't say that they popped it up, but I'm seeing a shadow there. So I'm thinking they did. So I'm going to cut that about the length of this zip strip. And put that right in the center, kind of in between the sentiment and this. And it actually doesn't say, yeah, it doesn't have a measurement. I didn't think so. So just kind of center it there. And then the bee or butterfly. Little pop dot for that, or pop tape. And that's gonna go kind of up here to the upper right. And then we will need a couple of little dots and we'll be done. That wasn't too painful. But here comes the fun part, you guys. I hope you stick around for the shaker cards. Even if you don't make them on this particular card, you're going to see how much fun they are and you're going to want to get some stuff. So I know that the rectangles and the square die cuts are no longer available. I don't think I have any in my stock. If I do, it's up in Michigan and I won't be able to look for a while. But again, I'll see if I can pull those out if I have any. But otherwise, watch that video on the cutting instructions. I show you how to make your own frames for this. And then the actual insides of the shaker cards with the little acetate and with the specific foam tape that's cut just right for that card is still available, so you can buy that. All right, so up next are the shaker cards.